Alrighty, we're doing another yap today. I didn't really know what to talk about, but this just kind of came to me. And it's an outlook I've had for a while, but it's on gender roles and the dynamics between, men and women. And I think a lot of the problems we have today, in terms of societal problems, I wouldn't really call them problems per se, but I feel like what we're experiencing in society right now is a direct result of the collapse of gender roles. And what I mean by this is men have become somewhat pathetic, and women have become they've taken on a more masculine role in terms of women have to work, women have to slave away like men do. Like back in the day, men were the slave class. We were the ones working in a factory, doing all this bullshit, while women would stay at home and provide for the family and all that good stuff. And I see what happened. Like women wanted the freedom to be able to choose that if they want to. And I do think that was a necessary step. And I think what we've experienced in society has been a transitory period. And I believe we're moving into a time where we'll actually return to a lot of the gender roles we had. I don't think women should be working anymore. Not because they shouldn't be allowed to, but because they don't really want to. Yes, they should be free to decide to do that if they like. But typically, like, women don't want to be working 9 to 5 jobs. And whoever gaslit women into believing that's what they want to be doing is a D1 manipulator. Because there's no way you'd want to be doing that, especially women. Women are built in a very different way to men. We complement each other very well, but we definitely have our strengths and weaknesses. Females have I know female, that maybe I shouldn't use that term. Women hate that. They get triggered by it. But women, they have this they don't have the same strength in terms of stress tolerance when it comes to work. I see it with my sister. This would trigger her if I told it to her directly, but she cannot handle the stress of a work environment. To me, I work like from home. I run my own company, and it's very easy for me. I can handle it. I enjoy it. It excites me. For the male mind, this kind of work environment, this competitiveness is the perfect word for it. That's what it is. Women don't have that same kind of build. They're just not designed for that kind of environment. I see it with my sister. She gets so stressed out. She works like a corporate job, typical 9 to 5 slavery job, and she's just so weak in that aspect of life. And I know this is very anecdotal, but I think it can be spread across a lot of the women I've met in my lifetime. They're not built for that. But then when it comes to, running a household, running a family, looking after children, they're blessed. They have the patience of a saint. They can put up with so much more complaining by the child. It's just what they've evolved to do over millennia. And it's not just in humans, it's in a lot of animals as well. Typically, that's just the female aspect, the divine feminine principle playing out through humanity. And because we've been in a period of time where women have been forced to take on a more masculine role, they've gone quite jaded. And men who they've not been able to fulfill that role themselves. Men want to support a woman. Men want to support a family. It makes us feel strong. It makes us feel important. It makes us feel like we're men. And men like to have that strong masculine figure. They like to be that supportive role, that strong rock in the family. And then women naturally play the more feminine aspect. They're more like water. They're very much followers as well. I very much believe the divine family dynamic is a strong masculine man and a strong feminine woman. And that doesn't mean like masculine as in, the stereotype of being a piece of shit, being really misogynistic, being aggressive. I mean being strong, being calm, being able to tolerate a lot of stress, being able to support, being able to provide, being able to, be a point of rest for the woman. She should be able to know he has it sorted. We're gonna be fine. But then the woman plays a very good role as well. She plays that role of peace for the man. When he's out, doing bullshit things men do. Like, I know nowadays we're not fighting wars and doing cool shit like we used to do. But when he's doing the more masculine thing, the competitiveness, the out there hustling, whatever, he needs to be able to come home to a woman who's peaceful, soft, allows him to rest. His whole life is chaotic, is competitive, because we choose that, we enjoy that. But then in our home time, it's nice to come home to an environment which is peaceful, loving, etc. And it's truly the best dynamic. And you see it nowadays. Birth rates have dropped. Men have gotten quite weak. And you see men like to complain that women are like hoes or whatever on OnlyFans and shit. That is not a reflection of women. That is a reflection of men. What the fuck? Why is there these millions of men buying OnlyFans? This is pathetic. Women can only do, this is gonna sound bad to the traditional mind, but women can only do what men allow. The only reason women are so promiscuous, all this OnlyFans shit, is because men are paying for it. The fuck? And yet those same men like to shame the women. And I'm not trying to be all fucking white knight, like, staying up for these fucking prostitutes, but, brother, like, be a man. Grow up, what the fuck? It's such a shame. But I think it's an important period in the human story for us to go through this phase of seeing the path. We're now shown, okay, this is what happens when you let this stuff slide. Back in the day, like, women, it would be very easy for them to be like, oh, but I want to be free to work. I want to be free to do this. Now they've gone through that. They know what that is like. And now we can go into a period where we fit more into these roles. Not because we're forced to. Not because the patriarchy forces women to be this way and forces men to be this way. But because through experience, we have come to know that we don't want to do it that way. And we want to fit into these roles, not because we have to, but because we prefer it. This is actually what we want to be doing. And the roles shouldn't be who you are. It's quite dangerous. It can cause a lot of suffering in your psyche when you become identified. When you become, I am a man, this is what I am. Because it makes you quite fragile. When your identity is based on being a man, then the second someone challenges your status as a man, you're going to instantly get insecure and defensive. But I believe for the male psyche, the role is there because you enjoy it. You should wish to be a man. You should strive to have these masculine ideals, these great goals to conquer, to dominate, to, because you enjoy it. I don't subscribe to the ideals of be a man. This is what men do. Do this because, you're a man. Like, all this macho, Andrew Tate-ish, hopecore. I don't even know what this shit is. But it's very, very prevalent in our society right now. And I don't subscribe to that at all. I think you should be a man. I think you should play that role. Enjoy that story because it's enjoyable. It's fun. Like, I'm a very ambitious person. I've made a lot of money online. I like to compete. I like to fight. I fight amateur. I'm not quite pro level yet, but I'm pretty decent so far. And I do all this masculine stuff. Not because I have to, not because I feel like it's my duty. Duty is such an ugly thing. I do it because I enjoy it. I strive. I follow these masculine principles because I love it. And I'll touch on duty here now. Duty is an ugly masculine term. It's very prevalent among alpha males about needing to follow your duty, do what you need to do, whatever this bullshit. Anything that is called duty is ugly. You shouldn't look after your children. You shouldn't. I need to think about how I say this. You shouldn't be doing all these things because you need to. You should be doing these things because you love to. You shouldn't be there for your children. It's a big thing about fatherless homes. I'm not going to come here and say, look after your children. Look after, provide. Go be competitive, make money, do this shit. Because it's your duty. That's a silly idea. It's an ugly idea. But you should do these things. You should follow this role. Because it's enjoyable. Because you love to do so. Because it's exciting. And then from the female aspect, I know I'm talking very male-centric here, because obviously I'm a man myself. But the female, the woman, I also believe, this is anecdotal, so you'd have to test it out yourself, but if you can find a man that you can rely on, who's masculine, and you can play into that feminine energy, I think you'll be more at peace. I think you'll enjoy your life more. And I think a big reason why females have lost the capability to be more feminine in today's society. Men like to talk about wanting a feminine woman. Women automatically become feminine when you're masculine. The feminine aspect of reality, that feminine, divine, universal force, is reliant on the masculine energy. When you are playing your role, when you are being your half, it allows for the woman to be more feminine. It gives her permission to exercise that energy within her. If you're weak as a man, and I don't mean weak in the sense of like muscle size, I mean your character. When it is weak, when you're a pushover, when you cannot do the things you should be doing, the woman is kind of forced to pick up your side of this bargain. She's kind of forced to have to fill in that masculine gap. If you're truly masculine, you're truly playing your role, it allows her the freedom to be able to express that part of herself, which is feminine. And I also see it like masculine, feminine doesn't mean man, woman. The feminine principle also plays out throughout men. And the masculine principle also plays out throughout women. The masculine principle is, the logical thought. It's competitiveness. It's strength, confidence, pride. And then I'd also say tranquility, calmness, stress tolerance. And then the female aspect is more, gentleness, kindness. When you really meet a feminine woman, they have this radiance, this glow of kindness, manaakitanga, love. And it's this play of energy between these two forces. And as a man, you should also have that feminine aspect. You should allow yourself to have times of vulnerability. And I don't mean go fucking crying and shit. If that's what you need, albeit cry if you want, but that vulnerable moment to really analyze yourself. And not in a logical way. Men are very logical, which can be a weakness at times, because logicality is a very strict filter of reality. It's a very strict ego. But if you can allow yourself to dissolve that logicality, that logical thinking mind, that ego mind, and bring up the feminine aspect, women are a lot more feelsy. Men say it all the time, women are emotional. In a sense, it's true. But it's not true in the sense that that's a bad thing. It's just a different way of experiencing reality. They experience it through a much more intuitive sense. They can feel things. Yeah, there's no logic behind it, but that doesn't make it any less true. Reality isn't dependent on logic. And you, as a man, you should allow yourself to embrace that aspect a lot more as well. That intuitiveness, that softness, that ability to feel. Because men lose that a lot. They get very driven to where they lose the whole point of all of it. The whole point is to enjoy it. The whole point is it's a little playground to hang out in for a little moment. That's what life is all about. And when you get trapped in this logical mind, you lose that. And you become too rigid. But if you allow yourself to have that feminine aspect of feeling, being intuitive, and then on the female side, it's the same thing. When you're too feelsy, you lose a little bit of that logical mind of being like, actually, I'm getting played. Like, I used to be quite like, oh, this is so cringe to talk about, but I used to be quite misogynistic, and I used to play girls a lot. And I noticed girls would manipulate themselves. They would be so trapped in their feelsiness of like, oh, I'm so happy, I'm so in love, that the logic would go out the window. Like, I wouldn't text them for a week, but in their own mind, they would be like, oh my God, he loves me so much. Because they're so feelsy. And if you're able to balance these energies within yourself of having enough logic to, within reason, logical, that you see things for what they are, but then feelsy enough that you can also feel the moment. You can enjoy it. You can be loving when you need to be. You can be strong and stern when you need to be. Being able to balance these energy. When the two energies in you just become one singular energy. I don't know where I'm going with this. Something was coming to me, but I think I blocked it. But yeah, I think the gender roles will come back. But I think this time, when the gender roles come back, they'll be a lot more positive. Because they won't be a gender role of men forcing women into submission. It'll be a gender role of women choosing to be submissive because men give them that freedom to be so. It's not going to be this ugly duty, this ugly forcedness. It's going to be a choice.